Hi, and welcome to this week's Southwest Hearts Community TV with Link for Growth. I'm Carol Dodsley, and for those of you that have perhaps been listening to the Southwest Hearts, that's a bit of a mouthful, the Southwest Hearts Community TV shows each week with Chris and Alex, you might be thinking, who's this woman? Just to introduce myself very briefly to everybody, I'm Carol Dodsley, and I've recently joined Link for Growth, and I'm actually helping them to drive forward the brand new community TV platform and the educational platform. So you're probably going to see a little bit more of me around, and I'm really excited to be here because I just love what Link for Growth stands for, and I'm just really excited to see this grow and to see other people coming on board and joining us with everything. So let's go and say hello to Alex because he's actually the star of the show. Alex, hi.
Hi Carol, lovely to be with you today. It's a pleasure. It's nice to have another face to join. I mean, great working with Chris. It's more of a friendly face this time. I'll put that to
and we can see there that Chris is Alex is having a few techie issues today. He might disappear out of the hangout. His bandwidth is playing him up, so if you think he looks a little bit robotic and we can't hear his video and his audio properly, please don't worry. You don't need to retune your TV sets. Alex needs to retune his. If he drops out, I'll be here, so we'll be okay. Okay, Alex, so this is all about news from the Southwest Hearts community, isn't it? What have you got for us, business news or news from Watford? What are you going to talk about today?
I'm going to start off with talking about the kind of the news in Watford, what's going on. As everyone knows, Watford's a busy town, lots going on, but it's all about trying to focus on the stuff that doesn't make the papers and the stuff that, I mean, the papers cover all the big news, so the elections and crime and stories like that, but that's not what people want to listen to this about. So I'm going to focus on more about what's going on in Watford kind of next month, the next few weeks in the first kind of section. Then moving on to the business section, we've got a few kind of updates there. Quite a lot of charity news as well, so we'll end up with some charity stuff, and I want to kind of throw in a lot of community news because, again, lots has happened the last week with kind of launches of things and updates. So we're going to have a little kind of L4G SWHerts kind of community update as well, so look to throw some of that in. So I'll start off with the kind of the news in Watford, and I don't know if you're aware, but some of the listeners might be aware and viewers might be aware of the Watford Live. The kind of session begins for the next month on Sunday, the 1st of June. It's a kind of month-long event, up and down Watford in the High Street, and some of the cafes and museums and stuff, and more kind of culture. So some alternative arts things, some theatre, some street theatre, some music events, stuff that people want to have, and I've seen people talk about there's not enough kind of independent artwork and kind of events. There's lots of events and some big shows in the Coliseum, for example, but there's not much smaller kind of independent things, and they've managed to bring in some, I believe, some local theatres and some international groups as well to bring a more cultural vibe in to kind of fit in with what is quite a multicultural community in Watford already, so lots of kind of cultural stuff going on. So I'm going to go down there on Sunday, take some pictures. It's the big launch event on Sunday, so the weather's looking good, so I'm planning to go along. I urge all the listeners to come along. So there's that event, and it's also the start of what they call the big summer in Watford, and there's charity events. There's the Imagine Watford, which is similar to Watford Live, but more focused on the theatre. So there's those events, and I believe there's a couple of special charity events, mainly for women, I believe. There's the Race for Life, which everyone knows is kind of looking for cancer and stuff, so there's that, I believe, coming up this month. And also a Starlight Walk, which is a night walk around Watford. So kind of, I believe, either both 6 miles or 13 miles. So you've got a choice there. So it's about a 10k, or maybe kind of looking at about half marathons for you people between about 9 p.m. and 2 a.m. around Watford. So there's a great way of doing something for charity, but slightly different around Watford.
That sounds absolutely awesome. So if people want to get involved with that, where can they go to find out exactly what's the agenda, how they can join in? Is there like a central information place, or is there a website? How do they actually really know when and where each of the bits is happening?
All the information, I found most of the information from the Watford Council website. I just typed in Watford Live. It came up on the Watford Council website under entertainment. What I'll do at the end of the show, I'll put a link to anything I talk about in the L4G community, L4G Watford community, and there's also the program. I'll link that into the community as well, so people can see the program and find out which particular events are going on where. There's some art events and some literary events as well, so all in different locations. So I'll make sure to put a link to that so people know where to look and know where to go on certain days.
Oh, that's awesome. And what we can also do is we can put links into the event page where we are streaming live now. So we can actually add them to the event page as well so that people can click through from there as well as being able to go over to the community. Brilliant stuff. I mean, I wish I lived in Watford because that sounds really exciting, but I'm halfway up the world, so I don't think I'll be able to get there.
Yeah, I mean, Watford has got a lot going on. I mean, it's a lot of stuff is being publicised, but I think it definitely needs more publicity, and it makes the paper. But I'm looking at the paper today. It's a lot of stuff that people don't need to know. People maybe want to read, but it's stories that sell. So it's a lot of kind of charity stuff, but it's not as much going on locally. So I've tried to pick out some smaller things there. But hopefully, if I get to some events, I'll take some pictures, put them in the community, and I know a few other people will be getting to them. So we hopefully next week we'll see kind of on the show maybe a round of what we've been to this week, as well as talk about what's on next week. So that's kind of what's happening in Watford. Everything kind of today is happening. Sorry, Carol.
It's okay. I was just going to say, if you or any of the viewers or anybody you know that is going there has got their iPhone or a flip cam or anything, please take some videos as well and then send them to me. And what I'll do is I'll put together like a recorded TV show, and we can actually get that up on the website and on the YouTube channels and in the communities and everywhere as well. So not just images and being able to report back, but take some video, you know, or maybe talk to some of the people there as well, not just video of around, but let's have some roving reporters out and about as well. That would be absolutely fantastic. In the future, we're actually going to be running live shows and live hangouts with roving reporters, but for now, until we've actually got people together to do that, because it's a bit short on time, but please do, Alex, and tell everybody else, you know, if you take any videos, give them to Alex or share them with Alex, and I will compile together sort of a video compilation of Watford Live. I think that would be brilliant. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's always good. I mean, that's almost a way of, if you can't be there, we're going to help you be there. So if you're watching this and somehow you found this and you live halfway across the country, but you want to know what's going on live and think, that sounds really interesting, I wish I could go, we'll film it for you and we can stream it online and people can watch what's going on at the same, near enough at the same time, or again in the future. So it's a great way of watching things, and you don't even have to be in the same town or county. I mean, the weather's looking good as well, which is always a bonus. I was speaking to a few people today, and everyone's kind of comment is, oh, well, that sounds really interesting, but what is the weather going to be like? Because if the weather is rubbish, most people go, oh, it's a really nice idea, but the weather's rubbish, I'm not going to bother. But it looks good for this weekend in Watford, so I kind of urge people to go out and check it out, because they're being run because I've heard people wanting them, so people have to then go, otherwise they might not run it again. So, I mean, there's a lot more stuff, and there's going to be a big event every month until March 2015, so next March, including an outdoor cinema, food festivals. There's going to be a skating rink in December, I believe, so lots of things going on every month in Watford from now on with the redevelopments. So there's a lot happening in Watford that you need to take advantage of, because it's there for us.
Cool. That is really great, because that starts to bring community back again, doesn't it? And I'm sure over the coming months, as things are happening, that you'll also be able to go out and actually talk to some of the organisers, and maybe we can get some of those onto a live hangout with us as well in the future.
Yeah. Just again, speaking of redevelopments, a lot is happening also in the business world. Kind of, I don't know if you've heard of GBK, the burger company.
I personally haven't. I'm not a burger lady.
All right. Gourmet Burger Kitchen, they kind of really nice burgers, kind of got a few restaurants down in London, I believe, quite a lot across the country in major towns. They're coming to Watford quite soon. They're looking to redevelop what was the old Waterstones shop, which is at the lower end of the Harlequin, which is, if you have a look at any of the pictures online, it's really new, the area. Within the last few years, we've had 5 or 6 new restaurants open up there. And they've looked to redevelop that whole end and kind of tie that down as a kind of, that's one end of Watford that's solid and will attract people in, because there's lots of big name restaurants that people know about, Zzz's, Wagamama's, now with GBK and Tortilla, burrito place that I've mentioned on the show before. People know these names and will know their names are becoming associated with Watford as a way of marketing the brand almost, which is really good for the town, and it's part of the kind of whole redevelop of Watford. I know I found out today doing the research that It's part of the whole 1.5 billion pound redevelopment of Watford over the next kind of 5 to 10 years, with lots of things going on. So it's really good for the town.
Cool. Really sounds quite exciting, and there's quite a few different things like this happening around the country as well that we're going to be bringing to people. So, but just listening to you, and I'm thinking, wow, I really want to go and visit Watford now. And I think that's one of the things that, you know, having these community TV shows is really bringing to people, because you're talking, we can hear your excitement, and there's all this and there's that, and this is happening, and people are doing this, and it's like, wow, I want to go there. So this is also like bringing other people into the community, as well as being a news channel just for people who already live there.
I mean, Watford is such a great location because you're so near to two other communities, Southwest Herts even. You've got the London community and the Northwest London. Even going further east over to East London, you've got such close proximity to London, where there's so many people and there's so many things and availabilities in Watford. I mean, there's the whole redevelopment of the top end of the shopping centre known as Charter Place, where again they're looking to redevelop that whole area, and the market's including that. So they're looking to bring in bigger name stores and redevelop it. By Christmas 2016, 2017, it's going to have 10 more new restaurants, lots more shops, new job opportunities, which is obviously good for the town. So again, lots of redevelopment, and it's all the information is online, and I kind of let people have a look at it, because this is not what some people think Watford needs, and the redevelopment and stuff. And there have been kind of groups of people with this kind of saying, is this what Watford really needs? Is it worth spending all this money on things? I know a couple of weeks ago we had Sarah Jane on, who represents Save Farm Terrace, who are not so pleased with the health campus, and it was a great way. She came on the show and she thought this was a really good way of getting her message out. So if people are listening thinking, actually I disagree, I don't think we should be having all these redevelopments, come on to the show and say why. And this is a platform which allows you, the viewers and listeners, to talk about why you don't think you're happy with these things.
Yeah, exactly, because it is all about people having a voice, isn't it? And there will always be people that say, yeah, that's good, and there'll be people that say, no, that's not so good. But quite often you find that local community people don't really have a voice, and it tends to be those who speak loudest, or the councils, or the people at the top that are sort of deciding where the budgets go, that make the decisions. And sometimes I think we've sort of got into the habit of, a lot of people have got a bit apathetic, and it's like, well, what's the point in saying what I think? Nobody ever listens. But by bringing these local TV shows out there, we're actually opening up the world and giving people a voice, and also giving you the opportunity to say what you think in a safe environment and get heard, because more and more of these TV shows are coming out, and they are, you know, they're on YouTube. They're not just streamed live like we are today on Google Plus or just on a page somewhere. They're actually recorded on YouTube, so they're visible to anybody that happens to type Watford or Southwest Herts. These potentially are going to show up in Google search. These are going to get people's attention. So it'd be really great for you as a member of the local community to say, hey, let us come on. We've got things to say. I mean, obviously this is all about good news. This is about having a voice. It's not about a let's have a spam fest and let's start saying all our negative stuff, because Link for Growth is all about positive stuff and inspiration and bringing people together. But please, if you have a view, if you have something you want to share about what's happening in Watford, about the regeneration, maybe you've got an idea and you're thinking, do you know, if they did that, that would give an even bigger pop for Watford. But maybe nobody has actually thought of that idea, so why don't you be the one to come on the show and share your idea, and let's see if we can help make it happen.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm going to move on to the kind of community news about Southwest Herts. A lot is happening in Southwest Herts, obviously, because a lot starts here with Chris Ogle kind of pushing things forward. We've got a lot of news, so I'm going to move on to that. And a little kind of breaking news: on the 13th of June, Richard Harrington, the local MP, will be on this show in 2 weeks' time.
Awesome, and I'm really looking forward to that as well, because I know there's going to be you, me and Chris and Richard on here, And, you know, we're going to be creating an event for people. We're going to be asking people, what questions do you have for Richard? You know, because we're going to sort of interview Richard and ask our questions, but we're also going to be asking you, the people in his local constituency, to share your questions that you would like us to ask. Obviously, if we are inundated, we're not going to be able to ask them all, but we really want you to let us know, what would you like us to be asking Richard on that show? So I'm really excited about that one, and I think it's a first, isn't it, that we've got a local MP on a hangout?
Yeah, it's definitely. We met with him last week. He popped into our local coffee shop where we were having just a quick chat and catch up and a strategy plan. He popped in and he was like, he seemed really positive about the idea, because we sold it to him as like, we've got the general election coming up and he needs to be seen as modern and integrated into the community more, and especially if the current mayor, who's just been reappointed, decides to run as MP, she has a big backing in Watford, so it's going to be difficult. I mean, he needs to work on convincing the local community to re-vote for him, because that's his current job, and it'll be a great way for us to showcase Southwest Herts Community TV and the whole of the community generally, saying, if it's good enough for Richard Harrington, it's good enough for your MP, because you're no different, and also, if Richard Harrington is happy to come on the show, it's like, you should also be coming on the show, because it's good enough for him, it's good enough for you.
Exactly, and maybe you just mentioned there the mayor. Maybe we can get her on as well. You did say it was a she, didn't you?
Yeah, Dorothy Thornhill. I in fact went to school with her grandson, so I'm planning to send her an email in the coming days about what we're doing, because I know that she, obviously being the mayor, she has quite a lot of influence, and I feel I want to build influence again and reintroduce myself to her and say, this is what I'm doing in Watford. I'd like to work alongside you, and say, because you have such a good role in Watford, you could help build this. And then moving on, kind of, obviously we've talked about, alongside kind of one of the other opportunities is Youth TV and L4G Youth, and we've talked about getting the schools and colleges to do their own show for an hour a day, which would be a really good opportunity for them.
Yeah, and I think that is really great. One of the things that I've got on my little planning board is not just the youth doing their own shows, you know, in their own environment, but I know there's already some initiatives happening where the local youths are actually going out to businesses and helping them build their Google Plus pages, to sort of get that integration between youngsters and businesses. And it will also help, you know, the youngsters as they come out of college and things. But we can also be looking at getting the youngsters, potentially some of them may want to be our roving reporters, and really forge even deeper relationships with local businesses, with the more mature people in the community, and I'm not going to say old age pensioners because I hate that word. The mature people, the people that, you know, they've been around for years and they're the mainstay of communities, but quite often sort of feel that they're on the outside. And also with charities, because the young people in the charities, you know, there's a lot there, and there's a lot of links that can be built and integrated, not only in their own community, but also as part of the L4G TV and their own youth TV as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've been talking to Chris recently, and he came up with the idea of, we have L4G Youth for the young people, and that is one of the kind of social areas we're working with. But he's come up with the idea. He has the idea of working with the over 50s, and he wants to kind of work with them because he believes that they're kind of on the corporate scrap heap at 50. They may not be able to get back into a corporate job, but they've got 15, 20 years worth of working life left, as well as 25, 30 years of work experience. So they're a value asset to a community. So he's looking at a way of getting them involved in projects and stuff, and he's looking for a name as well. So any viewers think of a name for the project. He initially called it L4G Seniors, which I thought was perhaps a bit, it's got the wrong connotation.
Yes, I think so too. It's very hard to find a really good name that tells everybody that this is for over 50s, but also that the over 50s don't feel that they're being promoted as old people, because 50 nowadays is the new 20.
Definitely. Senior has the connotation of senior citizens, in America especially, kind of senior citizens get discounts here, and they don't want to be called old, because as you say, 50 is the new 20 or the new 30. And I had a thought, okay, let's have a look at some names, and it is a really hard thing to try and find connotations of the word 50 or kind of mature and something that kind of describes people of that age without calling them old.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe some sort of connotation with the number 5 and 0, but not said as 50 or something like that. But maybe, you know, people can go out and actually talk to people who are over 50 and say, hey, you know, if you want to be involved, but also ask them, how would you like people to refer to you? You know, young at heart, that could be one, because that sort of young at heart type of thing tells people that actually this is sort of slightly mature people, but they are still young at heart, which is what I am sure every single over 50, over 60, over 70, you know, people get to a certain age, and I don't know what it is, whether it's different for every person, but I know people I've spoken to have said, yeah, my body may be over 50, my body may be over 60, but actually inside I'm still 30. You know, so, and they are young at heart. When I've been on holidays and there have been the more mature people there, they have so much more fun than a lot of young people do, because they really do. They have more confidence, and they also appreciate life a lot more. So I think it needs to be somehow some sort of young connotation where it says that these are people that are so vibrant, that have so much to offer, they have so many skills, so much experience and knowledge, and they're not on the scrap heap just because they are over a certain age. You know, age is just a number.
Yeah, again, carrying on from what you're saying, you talked about kind of the initiative for the students to working with the businesses and charities. We come up with the name of the project this week. It's officially known as the CSI Watford, the Community Student Initiative Watford, and I wrote a blog piece on it today, and it really kind of touched people. Kind of, yeah, this is a big issue for students and for businesses, and it's looking to kind of formalise it into a plan, because we had discussed it before and had kind of vague descriptions, and people had said, all right, so that's what you did, but this is a very easy way to go. If you want to find out more, have a look at this blog, because now it's in one place. So speaking to people, they go, that's a brilliant idea, and we're looking to kind of work with colleges in the local area to get it based on the curriculum, so therefore students are motivated to do it, because we found, talking to people in schools and colleges, that it's great for students to be doing it, but unless they can see the benefit, they won't do it.
Yeah, exactly. Something I read the other day that has nothing to do with the UK, but there's actually, in Brazil, they have an initiative where the young Brazilian teens who want to learn English are actually linked up via video conferencing, and they're actually talking to the mature people in America. And so they're actually linking up with like over 50s, over 60s, and probably even older people in America who are feeling quite lonely or isolated. And the young students are bringing life to them, and the older people are actually helping the students to learn English. And I think that is an awesome initiative that's bringing young and more mature together. And I've just seen that Tanya has just put in, how about L4G experience?
Yeah, again, I think L4G experience sounds good. I believe, speaking to Chris, that there was a bottle of wine for the person who came up with the chosen name in the end. So there's another little bonus if it is L4G experience, Tanya. There's a nice bottle of wine for you.
I think that's great, and let's throw it out there and say to people, come on, come over to this event and put your ideas in, and then everybody can have a look, and perhaps everybody can sort of vote on it as well, and you can take some of those names and those ideas out and let the over 50s vote on it and say what they think would sound good as well.
Yeah, because I feel, just having thought about it, that if someone was to produce one for something else for L4G youth and for that age group, I would feel that the young people would have to choose a name, like how I kind of came up with the name, because it's for us in the same way L4G 50 plus, or how it needs to be chosen by the people themselves, because it's representing them. So they need to be happy with the name, because they're going to be associated with it.
Exactly, and it's sort of a bit like a restaurant or a club or something. You know, if people don't like the name, they don't go there. So it has to be something that the people that it is for feel really comfortable and think, wow, I like the sound of that. You know, and maybe it is L4G experience. Who knows? But it's and thank you, Tanya, for that, for putting that in there. I think it's brilliant. But it is so important, and as with everything across L4G, this is all about the people. This isn't about L4G insiders. Like when I say insiders, you know, this isn't about Chris making a decision, Alex making a decision, the district leaders, me, anybody else. This is about the community getting involved and feeling that they are part of it and feeling that they have a voice.
Yeah, I mean, it is. We talked about this at one event. There isn't a traditional hierarchy in its growth. There are district leaders, there are community hosts, there are people that look after things. But that's because we need people to look after things, otherwise it wouldn't form, as in any business would. But it isn't just because I'm the district leader for South West Hertfordshire. I'm not in charge. I saw myself as speaking to someone who is the host of an event over in Ware in North Hertfordshire. I see myself in the role as a guardian of the kind of the events, and kind of for this time I look after them, and eventually I may pass it on to someone else. But it's mine for the. I'm in charge. I'm looking after it for the moment, but it's not mine. I may put myself as a figurehead and a spokesman, but it's not me. I may be represented, but I'm a guardian almost.
I love that, the way you said guardian. I think that's a really nice way of describing it, because there are a lot of networking organizations out there and they have a really strong hierarchy. They are led by somebody, and a lot of them are actually financially led. This is a business. Now, Link for Growth is a business, but it's a business that is there for its members. So it's more of a cooperative. It's something that everybody who is involved at whatever level, and like you say, there are no bosses. This is about people working with people. It's about people taking the lead and being the guardians and helping things move forward, because without that it just wouldn't happen. But it isn't about anybody being in charge and making the decisions on behalf of the communities.
Yeah, and if someone else thinks they could do a better job in some role, or maybe they put themselves up, it is pretty much people take on the roles because they asked to do the role. And I put myself forward and been talking to Chris, and I said I think I can do this job, and that's how it works. Most people get the jobs because they go, actually I could do that job, and I want to get more involved. And I'd just like to give a shout out to someone who I met today, Sarah Chalk, who works for Lloyd's but has been seconded to work as a business in the community kind of coordinator, doing a kind of similar to role what we're doing, helping businesses and charities connect. And since I became district leader, I wanted to build more influence, and it was great to meet her today. And for about an hour, we had a coffee and some lunch, and it was really good. She gave me some good advice about the CSR Lunch, which is coming up next week, and about how to open up certain businesses and charities and how to go about it. And I just want to say thanks, because it meant a lot, really.
That's awesome. And again, another potential person to bring on to a hangout on one of our community TV shows, because not all community TV shows, by the way, are going to be news shows. We have got a whole raft of different ideas and topics and shows that are going to be coming along in the future. But absolutely anybody who has an idea, anybody like that who has given you some great advice, that would be fantastic if she was up for it, because obviously nobody's forced to, but anyone who's up for it, to get them on a hangout to actually share their ideas and their skills and knowledge out there with the whole of the UK Link for Growth network.
Yeah, definitely. I believe I'm seeing her at the CSR lunch next week. I just put Jen's reminder out and kind of going to mention it there, because she's got a really good passion for working with the community and wants her remit to work with business and work with charities and get them just talking and doing similar things to what we're doing. So I said I'll give her a shout out and thanks. So there it is. We've had a few kind of events this week. We had the coffee over in Regis and Rickmansworth. It was a good event. I mean, the turnout was low, but I've looked and kind of I'm speaking to the people who are there and saying, how can we make this better? I mean, being in Regis, they have I think 50 to 100 offices and actual individual companies working there. So I'm looking for a way to get to them and speak the message to them themselves and see if they can come, because if they can get a good strong base there, that makes their business better. And I say to people, how many people do you know in the office in this actual building? And they go, I know 2 or 3, because I see them. We have a coffee over time, but they don't talk to each other. They don't have social events. They don't have business networking events. But it just screams out kind of for once a month, let's meet up at this time. It's in the building and see what we can do. Because the guy I was speaking to, Toby, he works in kind of money transfer, so sending money abroad. And I'd imagine most businesses sometimes send money abroad, and I know some families send money abroad, so they need that kind of contact in business, and he seems to do it and get you the best rates. So that's a great way for people to meet and help solve a problem.
Yeah, exactly. And I think there's a lot of that, you know, not just in the UK, but worldwide, where there are people who are actually working in a building together, but they have no idea who anybody is because they go into their office and they do their job and then they go home. And it is really great that you're sort of, especially with that they're already there in one place and that you can offer them something where they don't have to travel 6 miles to engage with other people. All they have to do is open their doors and walk down the corridor.
Yeah, there's again, I was at a training day for our system advice. It's an 18-story building in London, and I'd imagine you probably see half the people every day because you get in the same lift because you work together, walk back. But like, what if you knew other people in your building? They're probably doing something different to you, but they may be doing something that they can help you or you can help them. I mean, it's just simple things, maybe just making people aware of who else is in your building. Seems a really simple idea, but no one seems to be doing that in Regis. So that's what I'm looking to do with that one. And then coming up this week, we have, again, speaking of Regis, the coffee in Watford. Again, similar idea. I believe there's going to be quite a few people this one, so that looking good. And then, of course, the big CSR lunch, which is almost what I see as a showcase event for growth. It's an event where charities and businesses come together, and I've had a real push since I've become district leader to get as many people there as possible. I've managed to, through a kind of an old school contact, to bring one of the county councillors for Rickmansworth and Hertfordshire in for to the event and see how we can work together, because he lives in Rickmansworth and works there and he's the councillor there, so he has an influence there, and he'd be a good person to be there because he needs to be there because it's an event happening in Rickmansworth.
Yeah, exactly. So I was listening to you though, and at the same time I could see the screen scrolling because Tanya's getting very excited out there, and she keeps putting Tanya, it's brilliant, and I'm really so glad. But because I have double screens when I'm on a hangout, I always have the screens open so I can see all the comments coming in, and I could just see the comments streaming. And Tanya's saying, "Yay, with you, Carol Dodsley." I'm not quite sure which bit that was. It was a little while ago. Come on, others. What else is there? Great point, Alex. So whatever it is you've said, it's a great point. Tanya's also said, new ideas for shows. Brilliant. Looking forward to tuning in. Will we need a community TV Times, if you remember that far back? Kind of, I think so. It sort of sounds familiar, but I'm not going to admit it if I do. But yeah, there's going to be so much. There's actually because you've asked that, Tanya, and for everybody else that's listening in, because we do have viewers, by the way, Alex. I can see exactly how many people are listening. Right. We've got viewers, which is really awesome. There's going to be a complete platform that will be a TV platform that is going to bring all the different TV shows from across the country all into one platform. I'm not going to say much more about that right now because it's very, very exciting and I'm working on it in the background. So as well as having these TV shows on YouTube, through Google Events and on the Link for Growth pages, there's actually like a central TV platform that is going to be appearing at some stage in the not too distant future, where people will be able to go and find out absolutely everything. So I like to think of it a little bit like BBC iPlayer or ITV Player, where people can go over and they can do a search and they can find categories and they can find live shows and they can also watch recorded shows. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, speaking of Chris, being quite a big sports fan in American football, they have something called the NFL Network, which is pretty much 24/7 NFL news. It's very much like the BBC News, just rolling out. Sometimes it's old programs, historical programs, sometimes it's live stuff, sometimes it's just news shows. And I definitely think that's a great idea where people want to get more involved, but just want to watch stuff, and kind of whether it's community TV from, I can imagine, say if you're going on holiday and you end up, you're going away to Peterborough for the weekend, you go, I'll watch the Peterborough community TV show. Let's find out that weekend what's going on. Because why else would you do that? I mean, you look in the paper, you go online, but if you're part of L4G and you know there's events in Peterborough and you know there's a big, strong community, which there is, what better place to look at it?
Exactly, and how great if people, because there's families out there as well who, um, somebody lives in Southwest Herts, but their families are scattered across the UK, and some people will have families that are actually in America or Canada or Australia, or like I will be at some stage in Bulgaria, or Chris, he'll actually be doing tomorrow's L4G news update from Hungary. You know, but you can still then get, because the internet has opened up the world, people will still be able to get the local community news from where their family are, which I just think is so awesome.
Yeah, and I can imagine if like you would say, by the way, this is happening where you are. If you somehow, if you're in America and you being part of Link Growth, you see this and you go, oh, by the way, guys, there's something happening in Watford. I like the sound of it. You might like the sound of it. Go and check it out.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about bringing everybody together. So whilst everything is local community based, which you'll notice the more involved you get with Link for Growth, it's actually not limited to local communities. It's actually bringing communities together so you get to know people in your local area, because there is, I think, when we, in the olden days, and I'll say the olden days, sort of going back when communities had their street parties and they knew each other, that was because they lived there and they didn't have the internet. The world hadn't opened up for them. Now people say, oh, but there's no such thing as community anymore. Community has died. What it's actually done is it's shifted, and people, where they didn't have the open doors before, where they didn't have the opportunity to pick up the phone and get in touch with other people, where they didn't have the opportunity to hop online and meet people from all over the world, they got together in their own communities because they relied on each other. Now we've opened the world. We haven't destroyed communities, but people are starting to choose their communities according to their own likes more. So they're finding like-minded people in different areas. And the Link for Growth is bringing people in local areas together, like-minded people together, but it's also opening the world that you can connect with people anywhere across the UK.
Yeah, definitely. I just want to bring up, it's just on a tangent from that. I happened to watch a program about Rio. It was on BBC2 Tuesday, I believe, so it'll be on the iPlayer. All about community in Brazil and how it's being affected by the World Cup and the Olympics. And they were talking about a particular favela, which is one of the kind of slums there, and everyone knew each other. And it was this weird thing where one guy, he was called Rocky, his job was to be the community leader. He carried things up the hill for people and he was the man on the door of the community, so letting people in, and he knew every single person in the community. I looked at it and gone, that's actually really good, but we think, you may look at it and go, it's a favela, why would I want to live there? But everyone there knew everyone, and they all looked to help each other out, and I just thought, you've got to have a watch of it, and it's a really interesting program about community.
That sounds really good. Have you got a link to that we can share in the event page as well?
Yeah, it should be on the BBC iPlayer. I'll have a look at it and put it at the bottom of the event and share it around, because it just struck me as in kind of, this is what Britain hasn't got. I mean, parts of Britain has, but I'm looking around going, I don't know many of my neighbours, but they knew everyone. This guy, Rocky, it was just, one of his jobs was to carry parcels up and down the steps in Brazil, and it was about 400 steps, and he just carried a fridge up the stairs for someone. Just over his shoulder, just picked it up and carried it up to someone's house. Just like that. It's just amazing.
Yeah. And I think that's, I think people are coming back to wanting more of that, more community and less isolation for people as well.
Yeah, I want to also, you being here, it's great. This gives us a good chance to talk about the kind of another aspect of Link for Growth, the training aspect that you're more involved with.
What would you like to know about the training aspect?
Just kind of let people know about kind of the variety of things they can get involved with, because I go to some events and I'm trying to flag up a part of my role as digital editor of what's available for people in growth, and one of the other blogs I wrote last week was kind of the different things you can do. And training is a big thing, so kind of the half-day workshops and the accelerated learning programs.
Yeah, exactly. At the moment there are, like you say, there's the half-day workshops. I'm not sure of all of the topics on those, because I've only just very recently come on board to actually lead on the new educational platform. I think there's the mainly social orientated LinkedIn and MailChimp. I think there might be a Twitter. I'm leading on the Google Plus, because Google Plus is all about how everybody can really connect with each other and link for growth. Google Plus is sort of driving an awful lot of the connections, the communities, the Hangouts. We're driving the TV. I'm running the Link for Growth ALP for Google Plus. So if you want to get to know a little bit more about Google Plus and really start to understand the platform so you can really get involved in the community, we have a brand new Google Plus Accelerated Learning Program. The Accelerated Learning Programs are between 6 and 8 weeks long, and what is really great about them is you can attend them from anywhere in the country. You don't have to travel to a venue. You don't have to take time out to go and sit in a room. There are offline events as well, but the accelerated learning programs are actually delivered using Google Hangouts. So like we're delivering this TV show, the accelerated learning programs are delivered with Hangouts, but they are on their own private page on the internet that you get the link to. You can come along and attend them. You've got the trainer is live training using Google Hangouts. There's a chat box there where you can interact, and on some of them you'll also be able to get into the Hangout if you want to. It's not a you have to be live on video and audio with your trainer, because some people really don't, and it actually puts a barrier up if you say we're delivering and you have to come into the room. For other people it's like, but I would like to come in and ask a question live. So it's very flexible, and it's great because Google Hangouts are auto-recorded, which means that if you sign up for a 6 to 8 week program and you can't make one of the sessions or maybe a couple of sessions, you can catch up in your own time because everything is recorded. And you also have a community where you can go in and you can get to know the other people on the program. You can ask questions, you can get support from the trainers as well. So that's really exciting. And as the education platform grows, there are going to be educational opportunities and training opportunities that cover just about anything in the world, any topic that you want. We are really going to be coming out there soon and saying to people, look, what do you want training on? And this isn't just for businesses. This is business related training, because there's a lot of business people who really want some training. But also for the people in the community and people who are not in business. What would you like? You know, we're going to be bringing health information for people. So there may be some courses on health. Maybe somebody wants to learn how can I get better nutrition. There might be people who want to learn how can I be more confident, mindset techniques. All sorts of training programs are going to be coming your way, and they're going to be delivered by L4G trainers, but also we'll be looking out there at the communities and saying, right, who is a trainer, who has programs, who wants to offer their programs to people, and tap into the whole community of Link for Growth to be able to say, yeah, we offer training, we can help with this. So you'll be able to actually use the Link for Growth network and the educational platform to signpost people to your programs as well. So this isn't going to be Link for Growth say we're going to train you on this. This is going to open it out for external people. And when I say external, I mean members of Link for Growth who don't want to be a Link for Growth trainer and run things in the same way that we are running training programs, but who do have brilliant training opportunities for people, and they just are not getting them out there in front of enough. So the education platform is going to be there for you as well.
Yeah, definitely. So it's kind of a Link for Growth presents Person X, Joe Vlogs doing NLP, doing cocktail making. I don't know. There's two examples off the top of my head.
I know. Okay, so NLP, which is all about your brain, which I know because I'm an NLP practitioner, and cocktail making. How do those two come out of your brain in one sentence? How do they link together, Alex?
It's how my brain works. And it's because I went NLP because it's quite a traditional thing when you coach, you know, and I can't think of anything else. I'm in trouble here. What else have I got? What else have I got? Cocktails, that'll do.
So you off out for cocktails tonight?
No, I might be now. I've got the taste for it now, but I don't know. I mean, it's been one of those weeks.
That was so funny. Okay, so let's move on. What have you got to tell us about charity stuff that's happening? And that sounded a bit bad, charity stuff, didn't I? I didn't mean it in that way at all.
I'm going to say quite an awful lot is going on with some of the charities that we're working with directly, and some of the stuff I found through a bit of research. I'm going to start off with an old favourite, the Michael Green Foundation. Not necessarily an old favourite, but they're doing some really good work. We met them at one of the CSR Luncheons, and they're really strong in Google Plus. We've managed to, they're on the community and they post quite good news. And last month, the viewers may remember that they had a quiz night, and on Tuesday they had the presentation at the pub where they had the quiz night and raised £900 for the charity. So again, great work there, guys. And speaking to them, there's kind of potential for a few big events coming up in the next 6 to 8 months. So there's definitely stuff happening there. And when they announce it, I'm going to make sure to hopefully to get them on, or them to pass me a message and say this is what's happening to them. And then I'm also going to look to kind of organise a kind of one-on-one meeting with Joanne, who founded the charity, to kind of speak about how and why she got involved, to give maybe even like a soundbite, like what Link for Growth does, kind of why you like a Green Foundation.
I think that's awesome, and a soundbite. That's something that sort of brings something up in my head that Chris and I were talking about earlier. We're going to be offering, well, we've always offered sound bites, but I'm actually going to be grabbing hold of everybody and saying, right, who is in Link for Growth, who are the subscribers? Because when you're a subscriber, which by the way only costs £3 a month, which I think is just absolutely nuts for what the opportunities it brings you, but who are they? How can I get hold of them? Can you go out and talk to people and tell people if they would like a soundbite, which is a great way to get your news out there, whether you're in business or whether you're just an individual and you want to share something about yourself, whether you have hobbies that you want to share, whether you are a charity and you want to raise your visibility. You can do a soundbite, and that is going to get you out there in front of far more people. So I love that you mentioned that, Alex.
Yeah. Speaking to Chris today, he's kind of mentioned, he told me that you were going to look, I would have that role as doing sound bites, and I know we need to pencil in for me to have one. It's been too long, and I've been a member of Link for Growth since kind of late last year, so I need to be doing sound bites because I'm doing excellent stuff for Link for L4G Youth, and that needs to be spread even wider, because I know some people know about it and have heard about it. This kind of, the message gets passed down through the district leaders, but I want something, a definitive statement almost of this is what it is. So I'm definitely on the list.
Yep, I have you on my list as well. Chris and I were talking about that today, saying, right, we've got to get Alex on a soundbite. So we're going to be arranging a date for that. And something that people may not know is when you do a soundbite, it's done through a Hangout, which means that obviously you're on video. It's put up on the Link for Growth Pinterest board, which means anybody over on Pinterest can potentially see it. It's going to be obviously on YouTube. They will also be able to be brought into the brand new TV channel, and you'll be able to take that soundbite, take the YouTube embed code, and use it on your own information, on your own websites as well, which a lot of people don't realize, that this soundbite we're doing can be multi-purposed, can be reused, and because it's all done using Google Hangouts and YouTube, it's publicly available for you to grab an embed code and use it on your own website. So how awesome is that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I kind of imagine, say if you just typed in someone's name who happened to be a part of Link for Growth or a business, and it pops up and you think, oh, that's really interesting, and you've never heard of the business before, and watched the soundbite with the person and yourself. That's a great way of finding out about a local business or a local charity and getting their message out there. So you don't need to maybe link to the website straight from there. You can link to their Google Plus page and join them and talk to them. Speaking of another great charity, the Watford Women's Centre, of course, they do great work in Watford, and they're probably one of the great posters in the Watford L4G community, and they're looking to get into their communities. So there again, they'll be at the CSR Luncheon, and they have a special quiz night on the 27th of June in St Albans, which is just up the road from Watford. So at £10 again, I believe Chris and I are going to be going, so I hope we get a little L4G team going. We've let the Michael Green Foundation down with their quiz night, but we kind of have to do this now. We've got it in the diary. We just need to confirm dates and times and people. So all the money that gets raised is going to help buy some new IT equipment. So again, a really good cause.
That sounds great as well. We really need an L4G helicopter so that you can fly over and pick me up so that I can come to some of these great events that are going on.
Possibly, unless, I don't know if it's possible, we can get a hangout going at the table so we can get you as part of the team, just on a hangout.
That is a brilliant idea. That would be absolutely fantastic. Let's see if we can make that happen. That would be really, really, it would be great fun. It would showcase what people can do with Hangouts, and it means that I can come and join in the fun.
Yeah, I mean, the great thing with Hangouts is, say, if you can't make it to an event, but you fancy being there, you could almost, someone could take, the district leader take the laptop to the event, they could connect up to the internet, they start a Hangout, and you can talk to anyone. In fact, you don't even have to be in the same area. You could have a Hangout connection and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I actually, last year, I think it was now, I actually was a guest speaker for a business networking event in the UK. And what we did is, I'm really not an early morning person, and this was a breakfast thing that started at, I don't know, 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning, and it was like, oh, you're 2.5 hours away from me. I don't think I'm getting up at 5 o'clock and traveling down there, but let's do a hangout. And I was here in my home studio. We had somebody in Billericay. And I can't remember the names of the other two, but there was 3 towns. One was a guy who couldn't actually get to either of the meetings, so he was at home on the Hangout. Then the 2 network events, each of them had, I think, about 12, 15 people at them. And through a Hangout, I was their guest speaker on the projector so they could see me. They put their laptop so that from here I could look on my screen and check what they were seeing, so I knew that the presentation and everything was going well. I could see all of them in the room. They could all talk to me through the laptop and the microphone that was there, and it was absolutely fantastic because we were linking 4 different places together as if we were all in the same room.
Yeah, definitely. And just, again, things just come to you with the technology, and you think of, oh yeah, of course, if you can do a Hangout, that means you can talk to someone here. So you don't necessarily need to be in the same place as someone else to talk to them. And it's a great way of just doing business and even training. I'm just going to pop back to training site. I was on the first the testing for the Google Plus Accelerated Learning Program. Really recommend it. It taught me quite a lot about a program when I never knew. I got Google Plus because Chris says you can be on Google Plus. I went, okay, I'm on Google Plus. I'm on Google Plus. Being on that, I'm now more active on Google Plus, and it's really easy. I met someone at a coffee yesterday who says, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Google Plus. I had a quick look at the Google Plus page yesterday. It's got no picture, it's got no text, it's got no about page, it's got no interest. So, is it really her? Have I got the right person? Because without a picture, I don't know it's her. There's nothing about her business, and it's just kind of, if you've got these profiles, you need to make the most of them because they're public. I can type anyone's name who's part of growth into this, and if they haven't got a profile, why would I want to do business with them? The same with the forum, the same with LinkedIn. Everyone needs to get a strong page because that helps bring your presence out. People will start coming to it, and especially with Google Plus, you've got this kind of the counter and the view. So you know how many people are looking at your page, and it's just with a strong page, it goes up really quickly.
And something a lot of people don't actually understand with Google Plus is absolutely everything you do on Google Plus that you share publicly is indexed for search. I get a lot of people that say, I haven't got time for another social network. I haven't got time for Google Plus. I'm busy in my business. And everybody is busy in their business, and that is great. But when you're on Google Plus, it doesn't matter if other people are on it, because a lot of people, when they are looking for a business, for a service, for a product, they Google it. And when they Google it, if you have been sharing information about it on Google Plus, it's been indexed and is likely to show up in Google search. I'm on page 1 of Google search. I don't know if I still am because I haven't looked for a while, but if somebody types in Hangout training, you may still see me at the top of page 1 on Google search, not Google Plus, the main Google search. That is an incredibly powerful thing for people, and that is one of the really, really big reasons. There's lots of others, but that is one really big reason why everybody, if you are on Google Plus, if you're not, get on there. If you are, it is going to help raise your online visibility to get your phone ringing far more often. And if you have no idea how to do it, please come and join the accelerated learning program. It's only £97, so it is a real no-brainer, and you're going to learn a load of things, how you can really easily use Google Plus to expand your reach.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm going to do a testimonial for it, probably a video one in the end, and put it on the page and say, because I've learned so much from it. I think it's really important that we all get to know it because it's such a useful tool. And I know the CSI project, I know that Chris did a quick search for that in Google, and if you type in CSI Watford, it's on the Google search, third down already. It's quite a niche name, and I would imagine there's many other CSI Watfords around, but it's third on the list in Google, and the more it gets shared, the more people read it and reshare it and comment on it, it's going to be number one in the end. And again, that could happen with every town in the country. Speaking to Jerry Ridioff, she's really keen to get one going in Redcar, and again, it's going to happen everywhere because every town's got a market, every town's got colleges, and you've got young people who need help and charities. So, and by having a set template, we can just change the name Watford and make it Redcar or Peterborough or Market Deeping or Grantham, where you live.
Exactly. And Tanya has said, thanks for the mention of the quiz night. Tanya, you are very welcome.
Yeah, Tanya, I'm hoping we're going to get proper details sorted out and we'll get a little team together, and I'm kind of expecting you, if you're free, to be there. Moving back to charities, because we've got distracted again, a couple more things. Next Friday night, any Elvis fans in the local area, pop along to a place called Fairways Inn in Rickmansworth for home starts, kind of Elvis tribute night. £10, £12.50 gets you a ticket plus a cocktail and a night of Elvis. So there's a good little event going on.
Cool. And what else have we got on the charity side?
And the last one, a charity I found called Demand, who work to create bespoke equipment for people with disabilities, both for recovery, for sport, and for everyday use. Have a fashion show later in June, on the 23rd of June, in St Albans, again just up the road, for £12. Where's these? I believe for about £15 you get the fashion show plus the option to an auction where you'll be able to buy the clothing itself, which has all been donated by major high street retailers. And I've got the PDF files. I'll be putting that onto the various communities later on tonight, where people can find out more.
That is awesome. And when you said there about the fashion show and there'll be an auction and people will be able to buy some of the clothing, that is another thing that is planned for the L4G TV. And actually, I haven't told anybody about this yet, so you and the people listening to this particular show are the first ones to hear about it. Even Chris doesn't know about it yet because I haven't told him. But online shopping is going to be coming for L4G TV. And that might sound a little bit, but think QVC. When Google Hangouts on Air came out, one of my first thoughts was QVC, and I actually went and registered the domain Hangout Shopping. I haven't used it yet because I haven't had time, but there are so many people out there in L4G, and something like that charity, imagine if we could bring that into the auction part, if we could bring that onto a Hangout. I mean, we might not have time to arrange it because it's happening soon, but for the future, you can have people on a Hangout bidding on those things. You can have, any types of products that you actually sell, you can be showcasing them live on a Hangout and actually have a web page set up or a process set up where people can say, yeah, I want to buy one of those. Yeah, I want that dress in this color and this size. Please send it out to me, and here's my order, and you can send them invoices. There's all sorts of ways it can be done, and that is another really exciting thing that is coming to L4G TV. And one of my real sort of exciting thoughts behind it was for charities, to help charities to raise more funds and do more fundraising and get the word out there in a much bigger way.
Yeah, definitely. And I can see kind of, I know people, speaking to people again, Ricky, on Thursday, were saying, can I showcase my products here? And it's like, you can't necessarily have the 10-minute pitch, but you bring along your products. But now with this breaking news, effectively, people get a chance to come on for 10 minutes and do a QVC kind of home style. This is my product. It was beauty, kind of home care and gym stuff and fitness stuff and nutrition. And give her 10, 15 minutes to talk about these are products. This is why they're really good. This is why you should be buying them. That gets you to an audience. I believe there's about 3,000 people already, and I think growth numbers probably more by now. It's always growing. So again, you've got a 3,000 people audience. In 6 months' time, it will be 5,000. So eventually it'll get to 10,000. Eventually be at a level where you may be at the same size as QVC, but everyone will know your name because you're part of a unit in a community which is much bigger than your local community.
Exactly. Cool stuff.
I think we're pretty much done, to be honest. That's a lot of news there and a lot of things going on in kind of Southwest Herts.
That was an awful lot of stuff, and I sort of brought a load of new L4G stuff into it that wasn't specific Southwest Herts, but of course it doesn't matter where you live in the country, it applies to you and it is available to you. So I have really, really enjoyed today. I hope you've enjoyed having me here with you, Alex.
Yeah, definitely. I've actually enjoyed it. It's been really good for another face, and it was good for Chris to watch it as well to see how, not we can do it better, but I've definitely learned a few things from doing this hangout with you, so I'm looking forward to the rest of them.
One of the great things that I've noticed today is that you've been looking at the camera.
Yeah, if anyone's noticed, there's we had a quick chat yesterday in preparation for this, and I got told that you've got to look not at the person but above the person. So there's a little mark on my wall where I'm facing, so I've been told to look at that mark, and it's perfect. So it's little things like that. It's still really difficult. When you're having a conversation with someone, you want to look at the person and see their reaction, but that means you're looking at the other person, not your audience.
Exactly, and that's something that I see a lot of people do, and because there's a film strip now, nobody that's watching this can see the film strip. The film strip is small little video thumbnails of the people inside the Hangout on Air. When there's 3 or more people in a Hangout on Air, unless the host has switched it off, the viewers can actually see those little video thumbnails. And what tends to happen when you're on a Hangout is you look down at the video thumbnails to talk to the people in the video Hangout with you. And what a lot of people forget is that when you look down at the thumbnails, you're not actually looking at the people who are in with you or at your audience, because they see the big screen. And for them to see your eyes and you talking to them, you have to look through your camera, not down there at their faces. And it's something, I did it when I very first started. I was always looking down because I was thinking I'm looking at the film strip. Now today I'm on a portable webcam because of where I'm sitting, and I'm actually looking at my Mac screen that is 4 foot behind my webcam, because when I look at my Mac screen I know that I'm actually looking directly or almost directly at my audience, and when I'm sat at my Mac on my office chair, then I tend again to look slightly above the people, and it's actually, you are then looking at the people. So that's a good tip. I'm glad we brought that one up.
Yeah, definitely. And again, more tips like that are available on the Google Plus training. I'll throw another plug in for that.
And there will very soon be a Google Accelerated Learning Program that will be I haven't decided yet whether it's 6 or whether we need to make it 8 weeks, but it will be pure Hangouts based, that will really teach people how to make the most of the Hangouts technology. So that's sort of like an add-on, next step once you've done the Accelerated Learning Program to learn Google Plus and get comfortable setting your profile up and your pages and everything. You will then be able to, and you don't have to have done that one first, but there will also be a Hangout specific program, and in the future there are going to be hosting TV show programs to help people actually discover what equipment to use and be very, very niched and focused on. If you would like to create your own TV channel using Google Hangouts, we have a how to create your own TV channel learning program for you.
Yeah, and again, more breaking news there, which you won't get anywhere else. And it's been great having you on, because again, more tips, little things about the accelerated learning programs that you host. It's a great way for people to meet you, start with who, and then find out your personality. And this is the person that will be teaching me. And you've got a really great, bubbly personality, and that kind of, you're easy to learn from. I know that from the Google Plus experience, so it's been really good.
Oh, thank you. I will take that as a brilliant compliment. That has made my day. Okay, I'm looking at the time and we've gone over the hour and it's gone so quick. But I've really enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to our next one together, and I'm really looking forward to when we have Richard on with us as well, and also looking forward to anybody out there at all who wants to be involved in community TV, even if you are not in Southwest Herts, which this is the episode for Southwest Herts, but anywhere in the country. If you want to get involved, please get in touch with me. You can find me, Carol Dodsley, anywhere on Google+. If you Google me, you'll find me in even more places. But do get in touch and let's connect and tell me what your ideas are. Tell me, hey, I'd like to be on a show, or I'd like to do this, or how can we do this? And let's get this TV show starting to actually spread out across the country together as well.
Definitely, and I hope everyone's enjoyed the show. I mean, it's a slightly different format today, and I've had a definite good structure to bring and organise it, because it was the last few weeks have been kind of not sloppy but disorganised. And this show is the kind of how we want it to be and how I want it to be, very not formal but organised, so everyone knows in advance what we're talking about. Because on last week's show I had some technical issues, and that left Chris and Tanya in a position when they didn't know what to talk about, because I was the only one with a running order.
Yeah, there's lots of things with Hangouts, and sometimes it's cool, you know. I tend to go with the flow. When you started to say formal there, I was thinking, oh my goodness, no, I'm not formal. I like fun, but yeah, it's a little bit more structure does help. It helps everybody on the show to sort of keep going. I mean, I'm very experienced at running Hangouts on air. I love running Hangouts on air. I love interviewing people. I love having fun. I love teaching on Hangouts, all of that. So that's probably why I'm so bubbly, and thank you for saying that you've really enjoyed it. So I'm going to say goodbye, and we're going to leave you with Alex saying goodbye, and we will see you on the next show.
Goodbye, everyone. See you next week.